I'm just now turning 50 years old. And I'm still in condition to train, do sports. But my counterparts, and I'm talking about guys that are 50 years old that look like they could be my grandfather. It's not a good look, guys. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for anybody. It's not a good look for civilians. It's not a good look. Look, the point of all this is a lot of sacrifice to staying in shape. It's hard the first month, yeah, the first week, the first day. But if you can somehow convince yourself to go just today, I'm going to go today. I'm going to go today. It is like carrying a fucking weapon. You're all the way in or you're all the way out. You can't half-ass none of this shit if you really, really, really want to get in shape. Because I've told you guys before, you got to be the biggest version of yourself. You got to be the best version of yourself. Look, you can get all the hoes you want. You can buy all the bitches you want. Nobody's going to judge you for that shit. But for the rest of fucking us who have qualities and values and things like that, some of us want wives that would want a decent dude to hang out with, to be with. Who, when you get sick, that honey's on top of you, making sure that you're not going to die. Because, of course, there's always that. You die, she's got to start all over again and got to find another asshole who looks just like you. So, anyway, we're going to talk about this. There's drugs at the pharmacy. You should take notes, by the way. You really should. If you don't listen to me now, then listen to me fucking later when you're hurting and your body's all beat up and shit. Because let me tell you guys something. You know how fat women can swim in ice water more than a lean guy? Because we sink? Because we are not as buoyant? The opposite is also true. However, here's the thing. Mortality rates are higher in fat guys than they are in leaner guys. If you want to get lean, there's a couple ways that you can go to the pharmacy and buy stuff to inject yourself with, or pills that you can take at the pharmacy. And I'm talking every pharmacy that there's a decent population of people, grocery stores. So here's my list, guys. Take notes. This may help you. Look, I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to tell you to go, but I will tell you to go to the fucking doctor first, as I went to the doctor first, and he said, yo, your testosterone levels are like a 42, and they should be like 405, like your bench should be, but it's not. You need to do this. So I went and did that. Now my testosterone levels are above average that of a 20-year-old. So, you know what I mean? And body as a result of it. Because my body now processes all the food I eat, everything I eat, and goes straight to the muscles. Okay? And that is a TRT every 10 days of 250 milligrams of test. That is it. There is another name of a product that is available down in Latin America, down here, and it's called Nebido, Nebido. It's very expensive. It's one big 4 ml vial of the most potent anti-aging drug men could possibly take, pure testosterone deconate, which lasts like 10 fucking weeks. One shot in the arm or the ass or whatever you want. At the clinic, you can go to the pharmacy and go, let me get some of that, and let me get one of them shot thingies, and then I want you to put it in my arm. How about that? And they go, okay. And in a couple of weeks, suddenly you start to feel hungry. Suddenly you feel hornier than usual. You wake up with that fucking lead pipe motherfucker that, yeah! Some of you guys are taking honey for. It comes naturally then. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, what else? That was the basic. Listen, you don't have to take that shit if you don't want to. I'm not telling you guys, but it is a steroid. I don't give a fuck. It's HRT, TRT, hormone replacement therapy. Motherfucker, I was on the IFBB circuit. You motherfuckers know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. The reason why they call it Mexican vitamins is because it's goddamn steroids. We used to go across the border in California back in the day, buy up all the shit in a pharmacy, and then come back and win all the bodybuilding shows. So let's not play stupid here. It's available. It's not illegal. You don't need you don't need a doctor's anything note for it or anything. What I am telling you is do the safe route. Go get your blood test done first. You see exactly how much you fucking need. Because, hey, one little injection a week might cost you $4. And that motherfucker goes up to like way more than normal. Well, if you abuse the shit, then all of a sudden you start getting acne. Suddenly that bitch that you like so much is like, you're very jealous, you're very aggressive, you're very this, you're very that. Because that shit can make you overconfident. And then you start making dumb mistakes. You might get emotional and shit. Because then you want to go off. And then you're like crying, listening to fucking Dear Mama while you're riding down the fucking highway. I can hear you crying now, you little bitch. Because you don't know how to listen to fucking instructions. Okay, the other medicine that you can get that is available at the pharmacy, any pharmacy from Tijuana all the way down to friggin' Panama. And then when you get to the ocean, you can wade across over to Colombia. And then when you get to Colombia, you can go there and get it in any pharmacy there too. And then you go all the way down until you get to Chile. And it's in every pharmacy on your way down there. And that's all these things that I'm going to mention right now. All of them. All of them. All of them. Because why? I don't, one, give a fuck. Two, you men need to know these things exist in the pharmacies here because they're not illegal here. They're illegal in the United States because they want you to be a fucking pussy. They want you to be a weak, emotional, flabby fucking man. But you could go to the pharmacy and buy stuff that, one, balances out your fucking natural hormones that are out of whack anyway. Two, help you to control the cortisol in your body, which is a stress hormone, eventually causes death. Three, get your ass on some stuff that's going to make you feel better every day, not make you want to drink yourself to death just because you can't sleep at night. And four, improve your sexual health and your mental health. So let's talk about metformin. Metformin comes in 500 milligrams, comes in 850 milligrams. It comes in time release. That's what you want. You want a time release metformin. It's a little more expensive than a regular metformin, which is about $4 a box of 30 or 60 or 100, 500 milligrams each. If you can't get anything else, get the 500 milligram metformin, take it on empty stomach. Do not eat anything for at least a half an hour prior to that stuff. What I want to tell you, this is for fat people who are insulin resistant. This is not for bodybuilders. It is an anti-aging drug. It'll help you to stop being insulin resistant, but it'll definitely give you diarrhea if you abuse this shit. So do not take more than necessary. There are guys who are extremely fat. They respond well to 500 milligrams. There's guys who are grossly obese who have been here in my house for 4 months on metformin, intermittent fasting. And that motherfucker lost 60 pounds in 4 months on metformin. So I'm not, you guys want to argue with this whole point? Oh, metformin's dangerous. Fuck you. The reason why you can't even buy it because the media brainwashes you into thinking, oh, it's going to give you chronic diarrhea and it's going to do this. Stop it. Stop it. It's a cheap drug. It's available over the counter everywhere else but the United States for some fucking reason. It's not a bodybuilding drug, so you're not going to get huge on it. You're also not going to expect like it to make you skinny like you're on meth or something, okay? It doesn't do that. Metformin basically helps you to process foods as if you were not borderline diabetic. And what it does do, though, and I want to tell you this because it's important for men to know that it does stop the production of mTOR, which is for muscle production. So this is not a bodybuilding drug. I repeat, if you're a bodybuilder and you're looking to get lean, this is not the shit to take. Another thing that you want to know is that there is T3, thyroid hormone, and there is T4, thyroid hormone. Both of these are both thyroid hormones that affect your thyroid. However, if your thyroid is Hyperactive, which means that it works too much, which means that your metabolism is making you constantly skinny. This is not the drug for you. T3 will make you lose weight faster than a Tijuana fucking crack whore. You'll lose weight fast. And it's also something that will shut down your natural production of thyroid, making you dependent on medication for thyroid. So it's something that you would want to take if you're not, A, knowing what the hell you are doing, B, have thyroid tests. You need to know if you're a hyper or hyper. Hyper. So if your overactive thyroid is keeping you skinny, you need to know what medication at the pharmacy that's available over the counter without a fucking prescription that costs you fucking $150 to go see a doctor. But I do recommend you go see a doctor. Get those results first. It's not that much money. $17 to get a blood test? Are you crazy? You know what it costs in the States to do the battery of tests that they offer? Huh. Forget it. $300, $400, $500, $800 to get just a test. Ridiculous. But I digress because we're not talking about it there. This is the list of things that you're going to want to investigate for anti-aging purposes. The next on the list is human growth hormone. Okay. Human growth hormone was originally invented for people who were born with dwarfism, meaning who were short, nano people. What do they call them now? I don't even know. We used to call them midgets. That's politically incorrect. Then there were little people, and I don't think they even like that. But whatever. That's what this medicine was for children. So getting the idea that you're going to take growth hormone and you're going to grow too, it's a misnomer. It's actually not for that. What it does for bodybuilding or for weight loss, or fat loss, is it does burn fat. Does not work overnight. That's the plus side is it burns fat. It makes your face very, very young looking. It helps all the collagen go where it's supposed to go. It makes you sleep well. Gives you a sex drive again. Sometimes your hair grows back on your head. I didn't see that. It was after I stopped doing all the drugs for bodybuilding that my hair actually did start to grow back. FYI. However, I altered my DNA quite a bit between then and now. So some of my hair did grow back, and some of it has grown back, and I will get into that next because, oh man, you guys don't have any idea what you have access to down here in Latin America. Okay, you can get minoxidil. Do not go less than 5%. It's period. Men or women, doesn't matter. 5%. It does not matter. Men or women, they go, oh, women's. No. 5% minoxidil. I think it's $3 a bottle now. And I think they actually make it so cheap. It's like, buy two, get one free. So you're spending $6 and you're getting the value of 3 bottles for the price of 2. And you know what? You need to do something else. Because, see, what folks don't realize is that when your hair falls out, there's a reason for it. And this is a thing that's called DHT, dihydrotestosterone. And dihydrotestosterone is when you have excessive amounts of DHT in your scalp. When testosterone converts to other things like estrogen, it also converts to DHT. And DHT can affect your hair follicles make your hair fall out. So what I want to do is tell you what to take, where to get it, and how much it goddamn costs. So you don't have to run around Mexico going, oh, I hope I don't end up in fucking cartel area. Fucking retards. Don't even bother. What the hell's the point? Why would you go to the areas where they're bad? No, fuck that. There's a place you could go across the border and walk across the border with me in less than 10 minutes first. Or drive. We got to take a taxi. Take a taxi across. I mean, it's that easy. And then you ask the taxi guy's pharmacy, and he's like, and it's nothing but pure pharmacias walking down the street. Like 40, 50 of them, one after another. The big ones that are beautiful like CVS and They all have that same shit. And then you got little bitty mom and pop places with all the same shit. And then you got places that are like 60% descuenta, 60% discount on. Then, this is the best part. They tell you. This is the best part. They tell you what are the anti-aging drugs on the sign. Let's see. Let's start it off from the very beginning of the sign. Metformin, check. Testosterone, check. Human growth hormone, check. D3. That's what I want to get into now is D3. D3 is the best thing that a person who is going up in age needs to take every single day. And it is so expensive. I wish there was a way to buy it cheaper, but there's just not. And you need to take 40,000 IUs of D3 a day. How about that? But again, it's expensive. I think a bottle of D3 would cost you about $8 now. But you need to watch out because sometimes it'll say 4,000 IUs. 4,000 IUs? That means you'd have to take how many a day? Okay. Oh, sometimes they have 6,000 IUs. Then you got to do some math to figure that out. Then they have 10,000 IUs. That's the one you want to buy. You want to buy it because I don't think it comes in any higher IUs than 10,000. So you want to take 40,000 IUs of D3 a day. That is the best formula for this stuff. With your metformin, no food, none of that stuff. Okay. Intermittent fasting is so important and it does work and it makes you thinner and it makes you younger and it makes you feel better. There's a lot of benefits to this stuff. Highly, highly recommended. Now, how do you intermittent fast? Means that you do not eat all day long till 1 p.m. And when you eat at 1 p.m., you can eat anything you possibly fucking can devour. Then again at 6 p.m. So you're eating twice. Some people only eat once. I eat twice. I eat twice because bodybuilders need excessive calories, but we do not need fat. So what's happening is from that last meal, from the time that I went to bed that night until 1 o'clock p.m. the following day, my body is consuming all of the carbohydrates that I had stored in my body. Once that carbohydrate store is depleted, boom, it gets into the fat burning. And a lot of times you'll immediately go into ketosis, and that was what processed it. You'll start firing up that shit. And then you know what was the craziest thing is that my friend that left, he was intermittent fasting too. And I was intermittent fasting with him, and as a result, I got the benefits from it. I didn't even realize it. I was like, damn, because I went and had oh God, what was it called? Well, anyway, at the end of 4 months, I had an appointment for him, but he had to go to Vietnam because he was doing a photo shoot for some rap group, some shit. And I had a scan, DEXA scan. A DEXA scan, basically, it scans your entire body. It tells you how much fat you have in your right arm, your left arm, your right leg, your left leg, your torso, whatever. It tells you how much fat you have. It tells you how much water content you have. It tells you how much lean body mass you have, and then your structure of your bones. And it's amazing because it's very accurate. It surprised me accurate. It surprised me so much because I had lost so much body fat that when we got to the doctors, he ended up having to come back, no, having to reschedule. Well, I took his appointment. I had the DEXA scan. And I had, listen to this, you guys. My DEXA scan said that I had 10% body fat. 10 point whatever. 10% body fat? Let me tell you guys something. I was preparing for bodybuilding shows for fucking months just to get my body under 10% to prepare for a bodybuilding show. And I was fucking cardio every morning, 5:30 a.m. every day, 40 minutes cardio. Fasting until I got back to my house. Then I was taking all my growth hormone and all my peptides and all that stuff, doing everything to the letter exactly right. You know, hitting all my muscles with this stuff. It was called metazomal sodium, and it felt like a wasp sting, but it worked. When you're gonna do a photo shoot, Every single, I don't care who they are, what bodybuilding, or if it's fucking golf. These motherfuckers are all taking steroids. All of them are. And to do, this is the coolest part. If it's just fitness, if it's just for photos, they have their doctors or their handlers inject them with sodium, a type of sodium that they sell for children when they're having eye surgery that causes inflammation of the muscle and it expands about 5 times the normal size. So what was happening was prior to the bodybuilding show, they were having me get down to sub 8, 6%, which is reasonable. It's when you get down below 5% that I'm close to death because my face is so skinny. But I was losing so much volume, so much size in my legs, they would inject me in all my muscles with this stuff. And they would go, okay, now we're going to go do some light squats and exercise. I'm like, wait a minute, we're not supposed to do legs at all before a show. They go, just trust me on this. And now, my sudden, I'm like going from having these stringy legs to popping out, and every muscle I had popping out in every direction. And I'm going, oh my God, what is it? It stung like fuck. Every single muscle stung for 3 or 4 minutes like a wasp stung me in every leg. But it didn't cause any water retention, but it did cause my muscles to pop out temporarily for about 3 days. So I was like, this stuff is badass. Well, it turns out that all those motherfuckers that are on stage prior to the show, every fucking one of them is buying all this stuff up in the pharmacy. And I go to the pharmacy and they're like, no, they already got them all. I'm like, who? They're like, oh, all your friends? And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, so I take my ass on down to the next pharmacy and I'm like, how much are those? Oh, really? They're $1.50. Give me like 40 of those, please. Huh? Oh yeah, motherfuckers. I'm putting all. Yeah, I'll be outside to buy me a show. Like $52, please. No, the ones who know it know exactly how to take that shit. What they would do is prior to the bodybuilding show, they're doing a carb depletion. So for the week prior to a bodybuilding show, they're eating absolutely no carbohydrates whatsoever. And they're drinking fuck tons of water, like unbelievable amounts of water. I was drinking a gallon of water a day when I was trying to get big. Then when I was doing my training, we would lower the water weight. We would lower the water volume from half to half to half every day prior to the bodybuilding show or the photo shoot. And what they would do is they would just have me eat nothing but whitefish. Whiting fish is what it's called in Germany. Whitefish, whiting fish every day. And then a literal, like a teaspoon of white jasmine rice with stevia and cinnamon on top. And that was my carbs for the fucking day. No. We had broccoli. And it wasn't cooked broccoli, it was raw broccoli. This is 90s tech, bro science. And by the way, my trainer was a lady. It was Miss Fitness Germany. Then it went on to be the Mighty Mike Quinn. You guys are the Mighty Mike Quinn. Doing well, by the way, being better, much better. And it just kind of went out of there from there. I had all the bodybuilding hot shots that were trainers. They were my trainer for a while. But the point is that it's such an unhealthy lifestyle, you guys. It's not even to say that bodybuilding it looks healthy because we're all in shape is horse shit. There's nothing healthy about bodybuilding at all. The drugs are, you know what I mean? Where the drugs come from? Hello? I mean, that is to stop you right there. If they're not coming from a pharmacy, they're coming from China. If they're not coming from China, they're coming from India. And if they're not coming from India, they're probably coming from Mexico, which probably came from China. Okay? So no bullshit here. Point is that these are all drugs that are available over the counter. My last and final recommendation that every man, woman, child, not child, but every man should take. Oh, it's time to get gas. How nice. Is fiber. Plain and simple. Let's see, what's it called? Metamucil. Metamucil. Metamucil, more important. Before you go to bed, you take a big heaping tablespoon of water, drink that shit down. Wait about 30 seconds and drink a second glass of water. Night and day, big difference. You'll feel better in the morning, trust me. Because you'll start blasting that all those bad stuff out, bad stuff out, bad stuff out, bad bacteria that's been built up in your stomach, all those seeds from the tomatoes and all that stuff. You got a watermelon growing inside you. Watermelons, man. What do you use to improve your stomach health? Alongside of fiber is probiotics. Man, I'm going to tell you something. Probiotics and fiber are a game changer. It helps you mentally. People don't realize this, but your diet immediately, it directly affects your brain function. Many people who have dementia have had horrible diets their whole life, plain and simple. People who have attention deficit disorder had horrible diets as a child. This thing called folic acid, that enriched wheat. Well, when you eat folic acid enriched wheat, excuse me, not wheat, flour, white flour, it causes ADHD in boys. There's your solution to that. And it's proven, there's over 1,200 studies about folic acid, enriched wheat, white flour, affecting ADHD, affecting attention of boys. Also of elderly women who have had a staple of their diet of white bread most of their life, ended with dementia. And I was like astonished. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And why isn't this a like public service announcements every single day? The factories have not shut down. No more folic acid. It's giving the boys ADHD. It's making the women emotional. It's giving the old ladies dementia. Why is there no outrage? Well, that's why. Because food. And I want to close with this. So if you can handle dealing with diets that restrict your calorie intake and make you do tons of cardio, then there's a good possibility you could be a bodybuilder, you could be a fitness person, a personality. But it is not healthy. Anybody who tells you, absolutely anybody who tells you that these influencers that are on YouTube, that are on Instagram and Facebook are natural, they're full of fucking shit. All right? I know them all. Okay? We all know each other. Who are you bullshitting? All the trainers for the stars, all the stars are getting ready for, they're all on gear. Every one of them. Every athlete is on gear. Every single athlete. Even bikini girls are taking tren. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, they're all taking that shit. Forget about coronavirus vaccines, man. Again, everybody's on steroids. Every UFC fighter, every grappler, I don't give a fuck. They're all on steroids. All of them. So there's that. Everybody's on steroids. That's been common knowledge for a while now. So if you guys who weren't sure, I just want to reassure you that they're all on steroids. So for the guys who want to use it responsibly, as a bodybuilder, you'd be required to use it because it was required of me to use it to be a competitive bodybuilder for so many years. You can't compete at a pro level without using gear and hormones and insulin and peptides and SARMs and anti-estrogens and the list goes fucking on. So there's always this line in the sand that, oh, just use testosterone. And then you move that back when you add a little Winstrol to it. And then you move that back when you say, oh, you know what, I'm getting bigger, I'm going to add some DECA to it. Oh, and you move that one back and say, you know what, the guys that are the biggest in the gym say you can be huge, but to be truly huge, you have to be on growth hormone. And then when you get the growth hormone, you move that back a little bit further and you say, well, I'm on growth hormone, but the guys in the gym says the growth hormone is useless unless I'm on gear, which I'm on that. And then I have to take this, which I'm on that. And then I have to eat this amount of food every single, oh boy, here we go. And then it gets into insulin and you move that line, goes back a little bit further, and then you're truly huge. That's what the bodybuilders would tell you, that, oh, you cannot get truly huge. You'll get huge, but to get truly huge, you would have to be on the devil's triangle, which would be all the gear you could take correctly, 1.5 times the normal doses, long-acting insulin, short-acting insulin, and then as much growth hormone as you could afford. And just so you know, here in Mexico, a 4 IU vial of pharmaceutical growth hormone from Farmacia de Paz costs 400 pesos, which is $20. 20 bucks. 20 bucks, and you can cross the finish line right there. And that is how these guys are coming down to Mexico, crossing the border, staying in an Airbnb for 12 weeks, going to the gym every day, eating really, really good every single day. Like, they don't even cook for themselves anymore. They get somebody that cooks for them, like a chef, or they go to the grocery store with their new girlfriend and she cooks for them. And they have this routine. That's the way it is. That's a really nice way of being a bodybuilder. If you want to have that bodybuilder lifestyle, which in the old days was the laziest thing I've ever had to do. I got bored with it. What do you do in the morning? You get up, you go do cardio at the gym for 40 minutes. Follow that with breakfast on the beach with your friends, where you get a 10 egg white omelet and a piece of salmon and six asparagus spears, six olives, and 3 dates. And that was your breakfast every single day for the next 12 weeks. You'd switch it up with oatmeal, depending on how many carbs you're allowed to take in, depending on your trainer. So we'd follow going to breakfast. Then we would go hang out at the beach for a lot, get some sun. Or if you were in the mountainous area like I was in Germany, you would have to go to what we call the Tunten toaster, which means the gay guy toaster, because only gay guys go into tanning beds in Germany unless you're a bodybuilder. That's why they call them Tunten toasters in Germany. So go to the Tunten toaster for an hour, because that was the old school way of doing a tan, which was like an hour of, which was fine. You know what I mean? I'd go in there and I would get the hot shit and I would put that on. That smelled like bacon grease. Oh my God, it was good. Bacon grease and Aussie shampoo mixed together. That's what it smelled like. And that was the old school tanning lotion. So you had to get a tan, because this is the days prior, just before Pro Tan became like a thing, and they made it obligatory for everybody to use the same tanning spray. So I would go to the Tunten toaster and get tan as shit, and then I would go to the spa and go sit in the sauna or the steam room. Well, come to find out that all this bodybuilding bullshit that is so bad for you and so unhealthy for you, it turns out the two things that are really good for you is steam rooms, saunas, and cold showers. I didn't know this, but your telomeres are your DNA, the tips of your DNAs. So imagine if your fingernails grew long as possible, but one day they started getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and when you run out of fingernail, you die. Okay, well, that is what a telomere is on your DNA. In order to extend, or at least reduce them from dying, cold showers or ice baths and saunas or hot, I don't know what to call them in English, no, not hot tubs, but steam rooms and saunas 4 times a day can actually let those telomeres grow so you live longer. So all these drugs that I just mentioned are only there to help you live longer than to help these telomeres grow. It isn't to make you become the next Mr. Olympia, because it's not going to happen. If you're at this age, forget it. You're not going to compete. These bodybuilding drugs are dangerous for older people. It's not worth the amount of money that you need to put into, let's just do the calculations, just so you guys know. Just as if you were to use the minimum dose of growth hormone per day, it would be 20 bucks a day. Now, if you had to use it 5 fucking times a day, do the math, it's 100 bucks. So you're talking $400 a month just in growth hormone. Then you got to add the test. Then you got to add how many, oh boy, yeah, insulin is, you know how expensive insulin is? Like 100 bucks for a pen that has 100 IUs in it. Well, guess what? If you're taking 5 IUs, that lasts 20 days. So you gotta buy another one of those every 20 days because the cycles are 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And if you're doing them for anti-aging purposes, Jesus Christ, just the metformin alone is it's the cheapest thing. But the most expensive thing of all is the food, especially if you guys are still stuck in the United States, which I'm not talking to any of you anyway. I'm talking to the people that are in Latin America doing this deal down here. The food's better down here. It comes from the farm. It doesn't come in a package. So that would be a helpful thing, knowing that they didn't spray all the stuff down with the Monsanto stuff. And yeah, there's too many things to even list as far as food that has been permanently poisoned up there in the farms. So you guys know, it's all in there. So I'm talking about guys that are down here. This is not a healthy lifestyle. So I'm giving you the tools that make it healthy. It's not healthy if you use any of this stuff in excess because this is no point in it anymore. Okay? It can cause impotence if you abuse it. It can cause infertility if you abuse it. It can cause your hair to fall out. Guys, look at my 1990s bodybuilder hairstyle. Okay? This used to be hair. And you know what? You come down to Mexico, you can get it transplanted from the back, put it up here. I think it costs $1,600. So there's that. And by the way, if you want to go, it's in Guadalajara. They all speak English. The deposit, if you are serious about getting your hair transplant, is $250. In all, after all the procedure, I think it comes out to $3,200. That's paying me zero for pointing you in the right direction. How about that? Not a bad deal. Anti-aging doesn't just cover that kind of medicine, but hair transplant may be helpful for you mentally. You know what I mean? It doesn't always work. It doesn't always work, and the recovery time is, it is what it is. So those are good things. Also, getting your teeth redone. Guys, come down here, and they have all the money they could live on of now. They're living cheap. They're meeting the prettiest girls they ever met in their life. They're going dancing on the weekends for the first time in their life. They're not drinking alcohol. They're eating good food, and they're getting in shape. But they came down with halitosis. Guys coming down with halitosis should go immediately to the doctor. You can go to any of these pharmacies that I'm referring to. You say there's a doctor. You can go and talk to a doctor, and she'll check you out, and she'll go, oh, yeah, and she'll give you antibiotics. And ironically, you can't buy antibiotics over the counter. You have to have a doctor's receipt. Oh, yeah. You can buy everything else except for painkillers, which I take very seriously here, and antibiotics. But everything else is free-for-all. You don't need a prescription for any of that stuff. So we covered the medicine. We covered the medicine for the muscles, but we didn't cover the medicine for the minds. Now, we've been talking a lot about diet being a big part of being helpful for preventing dementia, but there are medicines here that actually do prevent dementia that are over the counter that you can buy for less than $100 for a case of boxes of these things. I'm not even kidding. One of those things is modafinil. Modafinil at 200 milligrams isn't an anti-aging drug. It isn't a drug that's made for making you smart. However, comes the train. The results are clear. This is a drug that was originally made for narcolepsy. It was given to us in the military to stay alert during combat. Well, what we discovered as GIs coming back from the war is that they gave us this stuff. It's called modafinil. And man, I could read books. I was able to learn Arabic in 3 months. I learned Farsi as we were on our way to Afghanistan. Give me a break. This stuff is like steroids for the brain. But half of the troops didn't get it. In fact, 80% of the troops who took it got headaches. And the rest of us were like fucking reading the Wall Street goddamn journal and shit. And I'm not even kidding you how this stuff hit you like lightning. And when it did, it made you just sharp, just keen and so sharp that if there was an enemy coming after us, they were fucked. Me and 4 guys with 4 shotguns could take out the fucking whole half of the Afghanistan army. Half of the Taliban by ourselves. Okay? So imagine a whole unit. Yes, it is better, man. Listen, if you weren't sure, One of the reasons why I came to Mexico was because I worked security for Anthony Bourdain in Medellin. There was a documentary that was being done, Anthony Bourdain was a part of. And what he mentioned he says if there was one place in the world that I could pick where the best food was, it would be Puebla, Mexico. So I went to Puebla, I bought a ranch, and I started planting garlic and plums and apples and pears. So now we have like 150 trees of just plums, 154,500 trees total on 55,000 acres. So it's a lot of land. And like I said, man, I invite all these people come down. Like 4 people came. I'm like, you guys are dumb. No, we just can't come because we can't get a passport. I'm like, why can't you get a passport? Well, because I'm back on child support. I'm like, that's a problem. Okay, so to the people who don't have problems, well, I have a ranch, and that's where everybody came. And so we've been having a good time down here in Mexico. The food is better. We have a farm, so basically we grow everything we eat. So that cuts back on a lot of things. Everybody that stays at the farm works on the farm, so that cuts back on labor costs. Plus, we get to eat everything, and the food is so good and so good for you. You know, I have turkeys that are tall as I am. I mean, turkeys, big, giant American turkeys. They're not in anywhere. I've never, everywhere I've been in Latin America, I've never seen American turkeys. These mother humpers are huge. Some of them are not. Some of them are about, yay tall. And the rest of them, wow, 5 foot tall turkeys. Woo. And I walk around with them. They don't run away. I just walk around them. You know what I mean? Like chickens. And they eat the same as just like chickens. I mean, you don't have to have any waste food whatsoever if you have chickens. No garbage, none of that stuff. It's so cool because we have plates. Scoop that shit off. The chickens eat everything, even their own bones. Crazy, right? So there's that. Chickens cost 30 cents a piece when they're this big, so to speak. You can buy them like this, raise them, and then you'll have chickens that are worth as much as you can feed them. That's how you get your cheap eggs. You have chickens. And guys, please stay tuned to my YouTube channel because we're going to be building the roof deck here at the Fire Station 4 at the Firefighters Without Borders at Station 4 in Querétaro, Mexico. Listen, we're going to be doing like the Miami-style roof deck that doubles as a classroom during the week. And then on the weekends, it's our club. It's our clubhouse for the Firefighters Without Borders that come down to Mexico. And it's party time. Now, I don't drink and I don't date girls that do. But if you come down, you might meet 1 or 2 that you like, and she might come up. And the cool thing is that we're installing the tube, the pole, the slide down from the roof. Whoo! It's a long ride down too, guys. So anyway, that's part of the program that we're doing down here with the Firefighters Without Borders, Latin America, man, and it is working. Because now they want us to open a total of 70 schools. 70 colonies, 70 schools, 70 locations. That means that like literally people are going to be coming from all over Mexico to here to be doing school because it'll be like the official school of Mexico for the Fire Academy. Like the official Fire Academy of Mexico would be here. Can you imagine that, you guys? Can you imagine that a dude, and I'm going to tell y'all something. I was listening to Kevin Samuels live religiously on Instagram years ago. And the only reason why I listened to Instagram at all, because I was off all social media, period. And I was listening to Kevin Samuels because at the time, the cell phone carrier that I was using that burned up minutes and burned up data like crazy was offering free Instagram when you got a chip. So I said, cool, I'll get that chip, I put it in my phone, and every night I would listen to Kevin Samuels do his live. And I learned so many life lessons from this guy that I had never heard of before. And I was like, whoa, he's saying the same thing that I've been thinking all this time. He has decoded the womanese. He's decoded um, the Sumerian tablets of womanese. And he's made it easy for us to be able to communicate. Now we can say no. Now we can say we know what they're up to. Now we know that this whole thing is messed up and a result of bad food. I think that's what happened is that they were planning some takeover of some kind, and they needed to infect the women with something that would affect their minds. And like I said, folic acid, enriched wheat, enriched flour, enriched flour is what causes ADHD in boys and dementia in older ladies. So here we are talking about women with emotional and behavioral problems that don't seem logical 20 years ago. Now we're talking about mental illness caused by the food, and it only affected the women. Or this was a plan to affect the women in this way so that they would alienate the men, which was my theory from the beginning. Because you can't destroy a country without destroying the men, because the women are not going to defend the world or do anything for that matter. As far as defense, they'll run away, period. And it all comes down to, what do you want to give up? I personally wanted to give up not eating cheap food, garbage food. Garbage food that has low nutritional density, that has low calorie content. And there's this book that you can buy. It's called Eat This, Not That. That helps you identify foods. There was a book called Mastering the Zone, and that was by Barry Sears. Very cool book. Ironically, the guy that wrote the Atkins diet was there. I went to his house. I went to his apartment in Palm Beach. Actually, it was in West Palm Beach, across the bridge from Palm Beach. And his neighbor was an astronaut. It was an astronaut. So Barry Sears, Dr. Atkins, and an astronaut, all in the same building. So yeah. Very cool, isn't it? But anyway, he did a book called Mastering the Zone. It's called the Zone Diet. Basically, the Zone Diet was the diet that we did in Kuwait during the war. And all of us were on this thing because cafeteria food sucks. So we were like, hey, oh man, we got an idea. What we'll do is we'll tell the cafeteria that we want this certain kind of food. Because we're deployed. You know what I mean? We're going to get all the food we fucking want, any kind we want. And so we were telling the chefs, my chef's name was Damardash, and he was from Sri Lanka, no, from India. And Damardash ran the kitchen back there, and we said, Damardash, can you make this? Of course, sir. This guy made the best chicken curry. Oh my God. Because we were getting the frozen chicken breasts. We weren't getting the local stuff. So we were getting stuff that was imported from the States or from Germany to the war zone in boxes. So they were defrosting 400 or 500 chicken breasts for the shifts for breakfast, lunch, dinner. No, that's not true. Dinner. Let's just say dinner. Because we didn't just have baked chicken. We also had fried chicken. There were all kinds of chicken. So what I would do is I had all the troops come. And what we did was we make the list that was on the zone diet. And we would say, hey, here's what we want for breakfast. Here's what we want for a snack. Here's what we want for lunch. Here's what we want for a snack. Here's what we want for dinner. Here's what we want for a snack. Here's what we want before dance hall. Here's what we want for karaoke. Here's what we want for board game hour. And so we all got on the zone diet, and we had the cafeteria fix us all this bodybuilding food. And the thing about it is the commander was a fat ass, and the first sergeant, he was a fat ass too, but he was he was like a lush drunk that was recovering from being in Saudi, or were we in Kuwait? Okay, we were in one of the countries, and the first sergeant was a barrel ass, but he was an alcoholic. He came in with the reddest nose and his cheeks because his blood pressure was all messed up. And oh my God, man, we play volleyball every day. These guys are out there dying. They're detoxing from alcoholism. Like every day these guys are dying in the morning. They're out there smoking a cigarette and you're gonna fucking coffee. Guys, it sounds like they're ripping bong hits every morning. The fucking section commander and the fucking first sergeant are out there dying in the morning. Fucking an officer smoking cigarettes. You fuck. But he was replaced by a dude who wasn't a fuck, and his name was Captain Swift, and he would give you a swift kick in your motherfucking ass if you weren't training. Let me tell you something. He would walk in the chow hall, look at our food, and go, "What the fuck? I guess you guys want to be fat." Oh, hey, man, listen, you little cowboys. Next time I come in here, push the dessert cart tray away, because I have a six-pack, and you will have one by the time that this deployment is over with. And he was right. He was right. We had a six-pack before the deployment was over with because I changed the diet on the whole fucking base for everybody, and it made the first sergeant so mad that I'm an alcoholic first sergeant. I'm not even kidding you. Attacked one of my guys because he was trolling in the first sergeant, and the first sergeant was an emotional alcoholic, probably raised by a baby mama terrorist. And he's smoking his cigarette. Now remember something, guys. The desert is very cold in the morning. You think I'm kidding. You think I'm playing. I'm not playing. It's 130 degrees in the daytime. It gets down to like 80 degrees at night, and it feels like it's like -0, -20. And if the wind's blowing, oh my God, you get the blast of this desert air that's cold that goes through, like, on the outside of military installations, they put sunflowers. Who the fuck knows why? But you smell the pollen from these sunflowers every morning. Oh, wakala. Disgusting, mashallah. Mashallah, mashallah. I never liked it. Hey, I was offered to go back. I'm like, no. Well, we will pay you 650 U.S. American dollars a day. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't give a shit how many American dollars. If you pay me 6 million a day, it won't matter to me. I'm not going back there. Fuck that shit. I'm not dying again. But that's what it takes. And that's fucking what it takes, man. Get up every morning and train. But this first sergeant, for some reason or another, he had a beef with one of my guys. We're playing volleyball one day, and we're all in shape. Remember that, guys. We were on the zone diet. We were training our asses off like we were getting ready for a bodybuilding show. Like, we're training every fucking day, doing squats, doing deadlifts, in groups. Like, right now, you're going to see all the bomberos. You're going to see all the firefighters. All of them are in the gym now. Everybody's in the gym now. They can't stay in shape all year, but now they're fucking in shape. Good for you guys. I'm proud of you. Stay in shape. You won't be a barrel ass. So now they're all in shape. No, man. So the first sergeant has out for this kid. And we're playing volleyball. And like, oh, way to go. Way to hit that shot, first sergeant. Way to hit that ball, shirt. And then the first sergeant finally fucking had it. And he like hit the net or something. And then before the guy had a fucking minute to say anything, he was fucking, sure. And he ran and attacked him and just pounded him. We were like, whoa! First sergeant beat this shit out of this like two-striper corporal, whatever the fuck he was. I don't know if he was Army or Marines or what he was. But he was a smart ass. And that sure wasn't having it. And I'm like, somebody's career just went down in flames. And it was the first sergeant because it wasn't mine. I wasn't there to be the boss. But the first sergeant lost his job, possibly his career, when he went back to overseas. I'm not sure. Those were stateside. A lot of stateside units were in the war, but the majority of us were like, I was not meeting many stateside. I'd met a lot of reservists and reservist guys who were activated. Not a whole lot of people that were stationed stateside. They were mostly of us who were stationed in Germany, stationed in Italy, stationed in Spain, stationed in Turkey, UK was very big, 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 big units. Oh my God. So didn't it? And as far as like we were at Usaminim. Usaminim is where we had like Joint Task Force. We had JTF up in Belgium. So we had everybody. The whole United Nations was there, present and accounted for. Who was not there was a lot of African nations. There was no other Arab nations helping. No other Arab nations. No, I don't. I don't know. It's so long now. It's been I'm brain dead. But anyway, we all got in shape, and I think that if you're listening to this now and you're interested in being like the best version of yourself, is to leave the environment that you're in. Leave that environment that has the bad food, the bad air, the toxic relationships, the toxic work, the disintegration of what you thought it used to be. Because listen, somebody moves your cheese, you need to go find that cheese somewhere else because it is somewhere else. And some of you guys have to go overseas to find it. I mean, I've been overseas since 1992, so it's not like a new thing for me. And for the majority of guys saying that because we live overseas, we're here as sex tourists is ridiculous. I mean, come on, give me a break. If that's your deal, come down and see for yourself. All right, you're gonna go, oh, okay. It's not this fantasy that you might have in your head. Some places it is a fantasy, and those places are not in Mexico. Unless you go to, whoa, no, no, no. Let me stop lying right now. If your crazy fantasy is go overseas and go with crazy girls and do sex stuff, then go to Tijuana and go to Hong Kong. I guess I've been there. It is a strip club that like the rappers go to and stuff like that. It's real expensive. Then they do wild stuff, and they have the. I'm not impressed. That stuff doesn't impress me. I'm not turned on by that stuff. It's not my deal. I would like to go bow hunting in Baja California. That sounds fun. I want to do stuff like that. I want to ride airboats where there's a swamp. I want to ride swamp buggies. I want to ride four wheelers. And yeah, man, I want to finish doing my buggies here for wildfires. So if that's your deal and you want to come here and try that, I'm doing that. I'm not I'm not doing any of this sex tourist shit. It doesn't even make sense to me. The girls are not hot here. Give me a break. Sex tourism. Oh my God. Let me give you guys a quick one because if you didn't hear it in my last one, I'm going to tell you in this one. There was a guy in Medellin that was pimping young underage girls out. And the expat snitched on him. That's the people who live here. Told the cops where he was and what he was doing. They put him in jail. And then 3 or 4 days later, the people in jail killed him. So, yeah, if you're coming here to do that, you're a dumbass. And you should get help. Don't come here. Don't come here. Because that's not what we're here to do. If you're a grown-ass man and you go out to a club and you see a girl you like, you can actually talk to her, take her home, maybe have a relationship with her, maybe get married and have kids. You never know. But it ain't the same as the States. Those people are gross. Well, anyway, I'm the professor, and I'm out.